The following is a transcript between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am, originally produced on May 3rd, 2021, under the constellation of Taurus, in the mental week, examining through the throat chakra, me. And God said, "Let there be light," and light was made. This typical phrase of the Christian religion, of the Judaic tradition, always seems to me to be an ancient affirmation of the idea that the universe used vibration to generate energy. We have talked a lot about this, but we have not talked about the management of that energy in our lives. So today I ask you, to begin with, what is energy? I am. To begin with, let's remember what energy means. It comes from the Greek en, within, and ergon, work. The latter coming from the Indo-European werg of the same meaning, and which gave rise to the English work. Energon is to be performing a specific work or force, and with the Greek suffix ia, quality, it speaks of the concept or quality of performing a work or force. En, ergia, which gave the word energy. Me. So energy itself would be defined as the force that is generated by the exchange of an activity. I am. This explains the law of conservation of matter, in which it is demonstrated that it is impossible to destroy or make the matter or mass of an object disappear, since the only thing you would get is simply transforming it. So the matter never disappears, it only transforms. Me. Like when we set something on fire, the heat and fire itself, the chemicals or carbon emitted, is the same amount of energy of the object but dissipated into the environment. I am. That's right. That's why you know the famous phrase, energy doesn't die, it transforms. It's the principle that explains reincarnation. The same atom that composed you are the same ones that formed the dinosaurs, the amoebas, the first ferns and trees. The same water that those trees and dinosaurs drank is what you are drinking today as you write this. Oxygen, nitrogen, everything you can experience with your senses in this world are the same atoms transformed, passing energy, like the inertia of a vast train pulling each carriage, passing energy from the locomotive to the wheels of each section. Thus, however different they may seem, they all exchange the same power. Body after body, species after species, the active information is transferred from one body to the other, and the data acquired at each step is distributed in space, as fire dissipates carbon from objects to the environment, which will be absorbed again by the biosphere. And the key to the transfer is action. Me. The key to energy is to act. I am. As in the beginning, the first wave becoming a particle possesses a potential energy, which when divided generates a kinetic energy. This marks the two primary types of energy in the universe. Me. What is potential energy? I am. It is the latent in the object, accumulated, which has the power to move. It implies the relation of position and space of one body to another, like a magnet with its positive side and another magnet with its negative. Both forces are potential because they are latent in them, inherent in their bodies, and both pulsate, each to unite with the other. There are different types of this potential energy, such as gravitational potential, elastic potential, chemical potential, electrical potential, nuclear potential, and magnetic potential. Me. What do they mean? I am. These are all types of potential energy because potential energy is found in the object in relation to other objects. For example, The gravitational potential energy is the one that allows the movement of the stars, whose movements are given by the amount of mass they have attracting each other, like the Earth revolving around the Sun. From the same arises or is understood the magnetic potential energy, which, due to the mass pressure of an object, generates magnetization in its particles, creating a magnetic field, which produces movement in the body that is affected by this field. In addition, you have the elastic potential energy, whose principle lies in the materials with the ability to seek the balance of its initial shape when they are stretched or removed from its initial place, such as a rope, a rubber band, or a spring. Chemical potential energy is stored in the bonds of an atom that exchange charges. It is transformed when combined with other chemicals, generating chemical reactions, such as fire when something burns, or calories that your body adds when you eat. The electrical potential energy is perhaps the most recognized because it generates by the interaction of bodies or particles that have different charges, positive and negative, such as an electron, which is negative, and a proton, which is positive. It is the one that gives current, light, and electricity to a house, or the one that allows the discharge of lightning from the clouds to the earth. And finally, nuclear potential energy is the one that is kept stored by joining proton and neutrons in the nucleus of an atom, hence nuclear. It is released when under an external pressure that drives the nuclear reaction, the atom breaks down and organizes itself in a totally different way, releasing the charge of energy that holds it together. Me. And what about kinetic energy? I am. Kinetic comes from the Greek kine, which means movement. That is to say, it is the energy that is produced by action or friction of one or more objects, and that does not exist in potency within one of them. It incorporates kinetic, mechanical, thermal, sound, and solar energy. Basically, from the world of particle to the world of plants and stars, kinetic energy is generated in a constant motion of something, so potential and kinetic are twined. Mechanics explains that unity or sum between potential and kinetic, in that taking into account the neutral position of an object, the movement of the object is added to it. As for example, when jumping from a high position in which the potential energy of gravity manifests itself, but in turn decreases when jumping upwards, turning on the kinetic due to the movement, and accelerates when falling, but in both cases constantly, the mechanical energy was in motion. In the case of thermal, it is given by the speed of collision between different particles, because the heat is nothing more than millions of particles accelerating its speed by receiving an excess of external energy. Sound energy is mechanical because it is produced by the vibration of strings or resonance devices that receive the pressure of an external energy. The hydrogen and helium of the sun are in constant fusion, reacting to the potential energy of solar mass, which breaks the nuclei of the atom, generating the energy and brightness that we receive from it, which, when being fired into space, moves the particle from the atmosphere and biosphere, being the engine of the life on Earth. And with engine, I mean just the generator of constant energy, since engine is the subject of the verb to move. Me. Interesting. I am. Kinetic energy can be divided into three: classical, relativistic, and quantum. In the classical, it describes everything that we have said before, how energy is proportional to the mass and motion of it. The relativistic explains that no object can reach the speed of light, and therefore, if it approaches it, the object would tend to generate a kinetic energy at infinity. In quantum, energy is defined by the wave function of an electron, which represents in a graphical or physical way the system of particles. Me. Okay, and now, what do I do with all of this? I am, use it. Me, how? I am, your whole body is provided with potential and kinetic energy. Every particle of your being is unified with nuclear atomic energy, the basis that maintains unity and order in the universe. Each atom contains magnetic and electrical energy, and in its organic functions activates its mechanical potential. The cells organize themselves in an elastic way, having the possibility of being damaged and re-establishing their initial tissue. Every day, you experience chemical reactions that burn calories in your body, which you would put at the disposal of kinetic energy, acting, walking, doing other things. And the weight you feel is the gravity that makes you be here and now. You feel the warmth of the sun as you walk down the street, the wind on your face, the sound of the music, and the words that you hear and arise from you. And when you make yourself a cup of tea, you experience the speed of the particle as you feel the heat, seeing how they put into practice the law of conservation of matter, as you see the water vapors coming out of the cup and dispersing into the atmosphere. Me. Everything is energy. I am. Every mineral in your body and the constant thermal and chemical transformation of your body generates incessant work force, which produces electrical pulses transmitting information through magnetic channels. Thus, the mechanical functions of your organs are generating the constant web of energy circulation in your cells and organisms, which you call energy centers. Me, chakras, energy wheels. I am. There are chakras in every part of your being, but the main ones relate to the points in your body with the most potential and kinetic energy activity, the brain, the hypothalamus, the thyroid, the thymus, the heart, the lungs, the stomach, liver, kidneys, pancreas, adrenals, intestines, ovaries, testes. Me. Oh, now I understand better where a chakra is located. I mean, it's not something external to the body or matter, but it is the energy of movement of it. But wasn't it that energy generates matter? I am. That's right. But this was in the beginning of things. Now, matter already exists, and therefore energy is produced by the action of matter. In a way, matter is the accumulation of potential energy data that manifest kinetically. Me. What we usually call the potential of the self, the potential that we all have within us, is the inertial force of the universe, which manifests physically through movement, kinetics. I am. Therefore, you have two ways of igniting the energy of your being, potential or kinetic. Potential you call meditation, and kinetic you call activation. Potential through meditation implies that you focus on yourself. Closing your eyes and going inward, you can discover, perceive, feel, and experience the forces that live in your being, such as the ones that unites the nuclei of your atoms and the ones that exchange data by magnetism and electricity. Thus, you recognize what is your potential and what lies in you. The activation of the kinetics would be to get down to work, in which you perform an action, like walking, doing a ceremony, climbing a mountain, planting a tree, helping someone, singing, dancing, going to the pyramid. Me, I understand. It implies action, moving the potential to manifest it. I am. You are an energy factory. You are a cosmic battery in constant generation. The chakras are not subtle aspects outside your body, but they describe these forces that live in you and that you can use when you pay attention to them, ceasing to give power to the energy from outside and generating your own from within. Me. When you do energy therapies like giving energy, how does it work? I am. By magnetism. Your chakras receive and deliver energy. Your feet are conductors to the earth. Your hands are conductors to the net and others. Your eyes and crown are conductors to the sky. As if you take the ends of the positive and negative wires, your hands and feet and eyes will perform the same. The left being the negative, the right being the positive, regardless of your right or left-handed use. Like a magnet, the potential force of your chakras will be expressed by these extremities, giving or receiving information. Therefore, when working with another person's energy, our energy will be balanced according to it. That is, if we work with someone who has low in energy, negative energy, our positive energy will be available to balance them. But here you tend to make a mistake. Me, which one? I am. You forget the fundamental principle of conservation of energy. For if a being is low in energy and I give of mine for his or her balance, one of us will be unbalanced, for the energy I possess will have dissipated from me to him or her, as water evaporates from a glass until it disappears as if by magic. Thus, you will end up exhausted, and the other person, not knowing how to take care of his or her energy, will quickly exhaust it, needing you again. Me, how do I correct this? I am. By being a channel of energy already dissipated from the environment, like solar energy. Instead of giving energy to the other from your being, from your heart, first absorb all of the energy from the luminous environment through your crown, overloading yourself with that eternal energy. Bring it down into your heart until it looks like a sun, and from there, give it to others. Me. Oh, I understand. So we tend to give our own energy to others, and others demand our energy like energy vampires. But if we manage to absorb that of the sun, then we will never be losing our energy by evaporating it. I am. That's right. This implies to therapists, whether holistic or allopathic, for many times we give energy or receive energy by hearing, seeing, embracing, or conversing. Our energy channels, if we do not know them, will be open like atoms seeking to balance with external forces, exchanging energy with strangers who may unconsciously give us things that we do not need or receive from us energy that we are not willing to give, like lightning falling on a tree. That is why meditation is fundamental to recognize and to vitalize the potential energy, which protects one's own channels, always receiving with the deep breaths the energy of the sun. Me, like a plant. I am, exactly. The thyroid gland in the throat is in charge of the administration of the external energy for the potentiation of the growth of the being. When you look at the sun, when you chant in meditation, you activate the potentiation of growth, absorbing the light as in photosynthesis, converting the potential energy into kinetic. Me. To take care of energy, then, is not to close oneself to another, but to potentiate one's own energy in order to give without limitation. I am. That's right. This is the key to understand the universal functioning in which the conservation of energy is not produced by closing, but by exchange. It is not given by the stability of form, but by constant transformation. The more energy I receive, the more I give of myself, and the more I give, the more I will receive. Me. It is energetic administration. I am. The first of the great wealth and economic exchanges that you could possibly know, and it is eternal. One is energy poor, when one does not recognize one's own potential and relegates the kinetic to external forces, which do everything to ensure its survival. Me. Like giving power to parents or a partner or to the state. I am. Therefore, the being that is self-referential is a being capable of putting into practice the self-sufficiency of its energy. Me. So, to put this into praxis, I must recognize that all of these forms of energy live in me, and through meditation, I will recognize the potential, and through my actions, I will recognize the kinetic. I am. Stand in the sun and sing. Sing all of the vowels and consonants that we have seen in resonance. Receive the light and its energy like a plant. Discover your inner potential by activating it in your sound. For the divine consciousness vibrated and thus generated the energy. Me. And God said, "Let there be light." I am. And the light was made.